everybody. So today we're going to start talking about Bill Clinton's presidency. He becomes president in 1992. He is one of the younger presidents that we've had when he was elected. Let me get my sleeves rolled up this morning. All right. So this here is Bill Clinton. He's a Democrat. Beats George H.W. Bush in 1992. In large part because George H.W. Bush lost a lot of votes to Ross Perot in 1992. So Bill Clinton becomes the president. All right. So Bill Clinton his issue is he wants to help the economy. All right. But he also wants to reduce the national debt. So what ends up happening is those are contradictory. So if you help the economy, you have to spend money, all right? If you want to help the national debt, you have to save money. So he's really conflicted on how he's going to do this. Bill Clinton does it, all right? The economy does get better in the 1990s. Again, to say the president fixes the economy or the president hurts the economy isn't necessarily fair, but the economy does get better in the 1990s. Bill Clinton, he is the last president, and he's really the only president in a very long time that actually balances the budget. So if you look at the graphs of how much money we spent, like the coronavirus stimulus package that was passed in March was $2 trillion. Where does that money come from? We didn't budget for it. We just spent an additional $2 trillion. Like, just magic money. It's like swiping a credit card. We'll have to pay it back eventually. Every year we spend more money than we take in. If you ran your life the way the federal government runs their money, you would just absolutely lose everything instantaneously. So, the macroeconomics of it are kind of complicated. But Bill Clinton says we gotta not get rid of the national debt. Our national debt is something just astronomical. He just says, hey, how about each year we stop adding to the national debt? We just spend the amount of money that we're supposed to. Because every single year we spend way more than we say we're going to spend. All right? Every single year. And it's just wildly out of hand. So, Bill Clinton is the last president and the first president in a really long time. I'm sure he's not the only one, but at least in the 1900s, that balanced the budget. Said, here's what we're going to spend, and actually had a budget surplus. We had some extra money left over while also helping out the economy. Now, how did he do that? He cut a whole bunch of government programs, specifically the military. So by cutting back on things, he is able to get America back on a more economic foothold. There are consequences to doing everything, but Bill Clinton was able to do it, so he was able to walk that tight line. Bill Clinton is very much a charismatic person. He's the funnest guy to be around in the room. He can come up, shake your hand, be buddy with you. He is just very enjoyable to be around. That is his personality. He's kind of like, hey, we need a party. Who's going to throw it? And Bill Clinton's like, I got you. Like, he's the guy who's going to throw the party. He's going to have the fun. He is the charismatic. He is the figurehead. That is his personality. His wife, Hillary Clinton, all right, is very much a type A, very structured, extremely intelligent woman. Now, in 2020, we know that she ran for president in 2016, and she lost to Donald Trump. She won the popular vote, lost to Donald Trump in 2016. So we know Hillary Clinton a lot more now as like the lead politician. She didn't come out of nowhere. Hillary Clinton has always been involved, and she is incredibly intelligent, to the point that when Bill Clinton, and this is a picture of Hillary Clinton in the 1990s, so Bill Clinton came into the White House. One of his biggest assets was Hillary Clinton. So typically first ladies have some type of pet project that they deal with. Michelle Obama's was child nutrition, changed school lunches and stuff. That was like her pet project. Trump's wife deals a lot with like bullying, trying to stop bullying. Like, it's something that's minor, whatever. Hillary Clinton was in charge of healthcare reform. Like, the biggest issue that like fundamentally was shaping our country that Hillary Clinton was in charge of. She is not a wallflower by any stretch of the imagination. So much so that some of Bill Clinton's advisors, they went to Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton said no, like, we're not going to do that. They could then take it to Hillary Clinton and be like, hey, so Bill says no, I want to see what you think about this. It could be dangerous because Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are a team politically. They're so different. I assume they like each other in like real life, but I don't know. But she could, if she liked it, she could go convince Bill Clinton. Because if Hillary Clinton told Bill Clinton something was a good idea, Bill Clinton trusts Hillary's opinion. All right. So Hillary Clinton was an extremely influential person in the White House, and they very much were a team. And they, kind of like FDR and Eleanor Roosevelt, worked together very much as a team. Hillary Clinton, though, as we have seen in the presidential election like 2016, the charm and charisma that Bill Clinton has, Hillary Clinton doesn't have that. And I think that was one of the biggest things that hurt her is while she believed that the American population would be willing to just look at policies and ideas and stuff and not judge the person based on, you know, likability. And I think she realized that the American people still need a charismatic person who is going to represent them in a certain way. So Hillary Clinton, First Lady, extremely influential First Lady. So while this is going on, I want to talk about this dude right here so you can see his name, Newt Gingrich. All right, so this is a picture of Newt Gingrich. What you got to know is for this story, he's an enemy of Bill Clinton, like from the start. You start getting these hyper-partisan politics, means that Republican, Democrat, I don't care if the other guy says the sky's blue, be like, nah, no, it's whatever. You just argue left and right. They absolutely hate each other with a passion. It's going to start here. So Bill Clinton is elected in 1992. When he comes in, he is the president for 2 years. In 1994, there's a midterm election. So halfway through his first term of office, when midterm elections happen, Republicans take over the House and the Senate. All right, so he is a Democrat, but it's all Republicans everywhere else. So the Republicans don't like Bill Clinton because he's a Democrat. So the leader of Congress, Speaker of the House, is a guy named Newt Gingrich. Is this guy right here. So old Newt, that's right, somebody named their child Newt. Newt comes up with this idea with Congress, with the House of Representatives and the Senate, and he says, hey, we got this thing called the Contract with America. Congress is going to work with America since we all got voted in just now. We're all Republicans and the president's a Democrat. Clearly nobody wants a Democrat for president. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run the country now. The president, we're just going to take all the power from the president, and Congress is going to run everything, and Bill Clinton can just sit there and look pretty. Guess who's not going to like that idea? This is Bill Clinton. So Bill Clinton's like, what? No, not a thing. So Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich hate each other. So Newt Gingrich is a Republican. Bill Clinton's the president. Newt Gingrich is Speaker of the House, the top person in Congress. There is a power struggle over who gets to run the country. And it lasts most of the time he's in office. So Congress won't listen to Clinton. Anything Clinton says falls on deaf ears. They created their own bills for federal funding. And then Clinton vetoes them. So here's what happens in 1995. The president is required to present a budget to Congress. All right, that is the president's job. So the president presents his budget to Congress of how he wants to spend money. Congress doesn't like it. They tear it up and throw it out. They're going to make their own. Not going to listen to the president. So they turn around and make their own budget, and they pass it. However, before it becomes law, the president has to sign it. Clinton vetoes it, throws it out. This is new. This hasn't been happening before. We see it more commonly now. So Bill Clinton, all right, he's playing a game of chicken with Newt Gingrich. Because as it becomes the summer of 1995, they have to have passed a budget in order to be able to spend money. So they may have a big old bank back here filled with money of people that pay taxes for the federal government to run. Until they have a budget, that says how they're going to spend that money, they can't touch it. And it's getting closer and closer and closer to summertime, and they have not passed a budget. Then it gets summertime, and they have not passed a budget, and the government shuts down. This is the first time it has happened. You hear about it now, but this one was major. So the whole government shuts down because there's no money. They don't have a budget, so they can't pass it. Newt Gingrich expects the public to blame Bill Clinton for this because Bill Clinton keeps vetoing all their budgets. Bill Clinton expects the public to blame Congress for it since they refuse to listen to his budget. So it is a waiting game here to see who does the public blame, all right, during this government shutdown. So, like, all people in the government get sent home, typically in the White House, all right, and we're going to mention this tomorrow. In the White House, there's typically hundreds of people that work every day. Well, with the government shut down, they can't pay anybody, so they just send everybody home. So Bill Clinton lives in the White House. He's like hanging out there working by himself. He still has to do stuff all the time, but they can't pay anybody. So what you can do, so when the government shut down, this is what has happened, a waiting game to see who gets blamed, Newt Gingrich or Bill Clinton, as the public makes a decision here. So for about a month, the White House is like empty. Now, if you're in college, you can apply to be an intern at the White House. Usually you gotta be like a 4.0 student, you gotta be super smart and all this other stuff. So what Newt Gingrich wants to do, what ends up happening here with Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton. Oh, my brain's getting all messed up. I'm getting random text on my phone. I'm going to throw it over here. Has nothing to do with anything. So I can focus on you guys. When the government is shut down, all right, there's nobody in the White House except for interns. Interns who are like working for free at the White House. Typically, when you get to be an intern at the White House, you're like, I get to meet the president. And like, no, you're like 10 stories deep in the government, in the White House, and you're down there doing random copies. You never get to see anybody. Once everybody gets sent home, these interns become very pertinent, all right, to the day-to-day activity in the White House. It's a very unique situation. So Bill Clinton's like the president, like working with these like college students to just like run copies and do normal everyday stuff that the president has to do. In that situation, and we're going to come back to this later, he gets super close to a woman named Monica Lewinsky. All right, she's a college student. He's the most powerful man on earth. They like each other. Make some questionable decisions together. And they hook up. I guess that's the most simple way of mentioning it. Now, Bill Clinton is married. You're like, oh, he's married. I can't believe he would be that immoral. They're politicians, man. I tell you what, there's not the first or last time they're questionable people commonly. So that happens. It's completely, because we will reference this again tomorrow when we talk about Clinton's impeachment and everything. That relationship was completely consensual. Like, Monica Lewinsky was cool with it. Bill Clinton was cool with it. It happened. Both of them understood it was like a fling. Once so society is going to end up blaming Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich is the loser here because they're like, no, the Constitution says the president makes a budget. Congress looked like they were trying to steal the power from the president. Not cool. The president almost always wins in these standoffs. Almost always. And we've learned from here. And every time it happens, the president always wins. Even if the president's wrong, the president's going to win. So Newt Gingrich's like snaggle fraggle and comes back, opens the government back up, passes the president's budget, and now he really hates Clinton. Everything goes back to normal. The whole little random thing with Monica Lewinsky, they understood, both of them, that it was like a little fling thing. Monica Lewinsky, like, she's done with her internship. She goes on. Like, it's just it's a thing. All right, there's no hashtag Me Too movement. There is no, like, Clinton wasn't overly aggressive with it. Like, none of that. There's no accusations of any of that. It is, from all accounts, a purely consensual situation with two adults. All right? Because we're going to reference that again when we get back to the impeachment of Bill Clinton. So when the government shuts down in 1995, the people ended up blaming Congress. They blamed Newt Gingrich for this, so he comes back. Newt Gingrich has to swallow his pride, and now he really, really, really hates Newt Gingrich. Clinton has more support now, and the economy begins to rise. So after this standoff, it actually makes Bill Clinton more popular because everybody had to choose a side. So it really backfires in Newt Gingrich's face. This is a picture that says, "Crybaby," talks about Newt's tantrum. He closed down the government because Clinton made him sit at the back of the plane. He doesn't. So whenever sometimes the president flies America, he has his own personal plane. It's called Air Force One. Well, sometimes the high-ranking people in Congress go with him, like Speaker of the House, like Newt Gingrich. So, and the press will also ride on the plane, but the press has to sit in the back of the plane. And there's different rooms on the plane, not like a normal airliner. So they get to sit in the back, and they have to just sit there in case somebody comes back and talks to them. Bill Clinton, when Newt Gingrich would get on the plane, would make Newt Gingrich go sit, because he's the president, it's his plane, make him go sit with the reporters the whole time. And Newt Gingrich really hated this because it's a jerk. It's a jerk move on Bill Clinton's part, but it's also funny. And Newt Gingrich hated it, man. So that's what they're referencing here. So in 1996, Bill Clinton is going to run for re-election. He is kind of popular. Okay, he's probably 55% approval rating. All right, so it's not bad. He may have won anyway. He's going to run against a Republican called Bob Dole. All right. Guess who's going to run again? Oh, Ross Perot. Ross Perot runs again. Ross Perot takes votes from Bob Dole. Bill Clinton gets reelected in 1996. Bill Clinton, there's probably no bigger supporter of Ross Perot than Bill Clinton because Ross Perot really helps Clinton win 2 different elections. Clinton had won. He had increased minimum wage and had passed some recent popular bills. So he is reelected in 1996 for his second term, and second term gets a little shadier than the first term. This is a picture of Bob Dole. I would make a reference to Bob Dole's Saturday Night Live, where they used to make fun of him, like, "You're in Bob Dole's chair." But I'm too old, and you wouldn't get it. So I would be trying to tell you all these funny stories and be like, "Yeah, not impressed, Mr. Wagstaff. You're old. We get it. Move on." So this is me being old and moving on. Somalia. All right. So this is the tough situations that you have to make decisions on. All right. And as the president, it's just it's awful. It's an awful position to be in, to have to make these decisions, but presidents understand that. So Somalia is a country in Africa that's hit just hardcore with famine. So they're starving to death. All right. America has more food than we know what to do with. A lot of countries do. So, hey, they're starving. We have plenty of extra food. Let's give them food. Makes sense. And that's how everybody thinks about this. Just give them food and that'll be it. This is what happens in Somalia when that happens. When people are starving to death, people get desperate. All right. So the UN would fly over and drop tons of food. Enough food to feed everybody. Just no strings attached. Hey, the world's got enough food. Here's some food. Dropped it for you. All right. Drop like care packages. They drop in towns. Here's some food that you can survive. What ends up happening is there's warlords in Somalia. like gangs, but they're warlords. The warlords show up with all their guns and they take all the food. And then they hoard it. Then they now control the entire city because they control the food, because they have the guns and they can control everything. All right. So once this starts happening and these warlords go take all the food in Somalia, so therefore they can control Somalia, America's like, yeah, we're not going to do that, man. Not cool. So when we would start dropping these care packages, we would drop soldiers with it to make sure that the public gets to come out and get all the food. Once all the food's been got by the public, our soldiers come back. All right. So we're like, look, easy done, not a thing. Well, the warlords hate the soldiers that are showing up with the food. So during Bill Clinton's time in office, we have some troops over there in Somalia just to make sure the food gets out to the population. There's a movie based off of this situation. It's called Black Hawk Down. Black Hawk is a name of the helicopters that we would use at the time. We are flying a helicopter over Mogadishu, which is a capital of Somalia, and it gets hit with a rocket-propelled grenade. All right, and it blows up the helicopter and it crashes. There are two pilots on board. One is killed. They take, and the other one has his legs are broken, and he gets captured by the warlords who start making all these crazy ransom demands to America to get this pilot back. So, what they do with the dead pilot, and this is absolutely horrible, that they took the dead body and chained it to the back of put a chain on his feet and hook it to the back of a Jeep and drug it through the city, the body of the American soldier. And this gets put on like worldwide news. It's like helicopters flying over like video, and this just destroying his body just to taunt America. America is furious. And they still have one of these warlords. They have captured another American pilot that survived the plane crash but is injured. So we send in, and the whole movie Black Hawk Down is intense, and it's a true story, that we send in special forces and the military to get our pilot back. It is some astronomical amount of people that we kill. Warlord, these are bad guys, at least as far as my knowledge is. Like thousands of these warlord fighters that we take out as we get there, and we were able to rescue our soldier and get him out of there, and it's a big military victory for America, and we're able to rescue. We lose some soldiers in the process, but now tensions are like an all-time high. So after that happens in Somalia, Bill Clinton has to make a decision. Do we just up our presence and basically almost turn this into maybe another Vietnam, or do we just say, we ain't giving you any more food? Like, we're just not. That's the decision that gets made. And Bill Clinton makes a hard decision that people are just going to starve to death, but America, the more we try to help out, the worse it appears to get. So we're just not going to help out. And it is a controversial decision because people are like, well, like, how can you just let people starve to death? You know, and you're like, did you just see what happens? Like, yes, but morally we have to do the right thing. So it's very tough on how you're going to do this, how you're going to move forward. But the issue in Somalia happens. Do you know, present day, 2020, what the result of that is that we still see today? You hear about the pirates that are in the Middle East that are capturing ships and holding them hostage. Those are Somali pirates. That's what the warlords transition to. There's still no food there. So what they do is they go and they take over oil, that cargo ships that are coming from the Middle East. They'll capture them when they have to go by Somalia and then hold them ransom and make companies pay them to release your billions of dollars of oil. What was it with Tom Hanks and the guy's like, look at me, I am your captain now. That movie, what is it? That's a true story. And that happened from Somali pirates that have come out of this because the people that are there are so desperate, they will do anything to get money in order to buy food from other countries. So that is a tough... Where's my mouse at? There I am. So I got a video clip of that.
The battle in Mogadishu would be a black mark on the new administration, already at odds with many in the military.
So these are the rebels in Somalia. It's just when people start starving to death, it's easy to judge them when you have 3 meals a day and you know how you're going to survive. When you literally, it is life and death, it is really hard to judge people's moral compass on what they're willing to do to survive. So these third world countries where they're fighting tooth and nail to survive, it gets, morals take a back seat to survival. All right, China. So Taiwan. We've mentioned Taiwan as far as talking about Formosa, Chiang Kai-shek, and all that. He's gone now. So this is in the 90s. China has like weird situations. So China just claims that they own Taiwan. I want to simplify it for you. China's like, we own Taiwan. And Taiwan's like, yeah, no, you don't. You don't. And China's like, yes, we do. And so China like bows up the Taiwan. Now, we don't like the way China treats their citizens. So we don't really like China to try to spread out. We like Taiwan. We like the fact that Taiwan doesn't want to be part of China. So we, without thinking this through, take our Navy and go surround Taiwan to defend it. Now, in Asia, China gets first dibs. That's kind of how it works today. On that part of the world, China gets first dibs. We just rolled our Navy right into Asia and surrounded Taiwan and said, come get some, China. And China gives us the slow stare down. They're like, what? And it's like, it takes a minute to click. We're like, yeah, I think we may have overstepped. Like before, like, because China's like, you won't do this. You're getting all up in some private business. Like this is like a family squabble. It's kind of what China's saying. Like, you don't belong here. And we're like, oh, yeah, you might be right on that one. This is a problem. So we do end up letting Taiwan get taken over by China, and we back off. But China's really salty at us. All right. This isn't good because we're trading very heavily with China. Where Walmart comes from. But we're getting to that. We're trading very heavily with China, and we don't want to tick off China because whenever we spend all that extra money that we don't have, you know how we get it? We borrow it from China. So we can't tick off China, or they'll be like, we want all our money back right now, and then we can't pay it, and it hurts a whole bunch of stuff. So we have to treat China with kid gloves. And we're like, oh, all right, sorry, China, our bad. So we back off. This is a picture of China, so you know where it is, and this is Taiwan. It's right over here. This is China. This is a panda. Because who doesn't love a panda? They're dumb animals. That's a whole other story. All right. So what we do in America to eliminate this stress between us and China is Bill Clinton passes the U.S.-China Relations Act, which says anything coming from to America from China, no import tax. If it costs $5 in China, it costs $5 in America. That's it. We're not going to jack up the price of it. Since stuff in China can be made much cheaper than stuff in America can be made, a lot of American businesses are like, yes, let's just have the Chinese make our stuff instead of paying Americans to do it and then ship it over here. So stuff starts coming into America that's much cheaper because you're not paying as much labor for it since you're using people that will work for cheaper in China. And this stores like Walmart, well, you want to know why things are so dirt cheap in Walmart? It's because it's from China. And because of the U.S.-China Relations Act, we don't jack up the price of stuff coming to America from China the same way we would if it was coming from some other country. So, like, stores like Walmart that sell cheap stuff just proliferate at this time period. Now, this works out so well, it seems, because the rich people are making a bunch of money. Like the Sam Waltons of the world, the guy that owns Sam's and Walmart, he's dead now. They make tons of money because they're having people in China make the stuff that will work for a lot cheaper than American workers. So then Bill Clinton is going to pass Nafta. Man, this is... I'm kind of surprised it passed, especially from a political party that supported, minimum wage increases and stuff. They act like this caught them off guard how NAFTA works, but it shouldn't because they saw how it worked with the U.S.-China Relations Act. NAFTA is the North American Free Trade Agreement. They said, hey, look, it works so good with like not charging import taxes with stuff that comes from China. How about we do that with Canada and Mexico too? Anything that comes into America from Mexico or anything that comes into America from Canada, boom, no import tax. A whole bunch, and I'll give you an example. Like in Lexington, North Carolina, which is right down the street. Lexington, North Carolina made a bunch of furniture. Tons and tons and tons of furniture, all right? The employees there were making, and say they made $15 an hour, all right? Made good money. You can make minimum wage or middle class, upper middle class, working in a factory. The moment NAFTA gets passed, and anything coming from Mexico isn't charge and import, what business owners would do is close their factories down in Lexington, North Carolina, and then go open one up in Mexico. Hire Mexican workers who will work for $5 an hour, all right, and make the exact same thing, ship it to America, and it costs no extra money to ship it to America, and they can sell it for the same price in America. When that happens, all right, who is making all the money? The rich people, the people who own the businesses, love Nafta. Who absolutely is getting destroyed from Nafta? The average worker, the person that was working in that factory in Lexington in the 90s. When those factories closed, there's nothing else they could do. So tons of unemployment causes a whole bunch of issues. A lot of manufacturing jobs in America are gone. There's just not nearly as many today because a lot of those jobs are being done. They're called being outsourced. Other people are doing those jobs for us. Instead of paying Americans, which you have to pay them a lot of money, you have Chinese people make it for you, or you have Mexicans make it for you, or or Vietnamese people make it for you, or Taiwanese people make it for you. Places where the minimum wage is lower, you can have them make it and then have it shipped to America, and there's no import tax, especially from Mexico and China. So 150,000 jobs went to Mexico, which means 150,000 Americans no longer have a job, but they've done their whole life. Their job just disappeared. There ends up being a push to create the World Trade Organization, the WTO, to do this worldwide. But what it's going to do is your lower class in the richest countries, which is us in America, or the majority of us, the lowest classes in these rich countries are going to be absolutely decimated. So the WTO, they talk about creating that, but it never gets passed. Alrighty, and that is as far as we're going to get today. I will see you guys.